Here speaks Maximus Pepperkamp. I live in Chico, in California, in the United States. And in this video, I will be talking about myself. But I will be talking about myself in such a way as if I am not me, as if I'm you, and you are now listening to me. Who is this guy? What does he want? Why does he keep saying what he is saying? What is he saying? He is saying that when you listen to yourself while you speak, you hear yourself. And he is saying that usually you don't do that. So why would he bother to say that? He does that because he believes that listening to yourself while you speak is more important than not listening to yourself while you speak. And it is only going to happen that a person is going to listen to him or herself while he or she speaks if that person is going to talk with him or herself about this matter. And if this person is going to tell himself or herself, like, hey, you weren't listening, but now you're listening, so that's a very big difference. When you're listening to yourself while you speak, you suddenly say all kinds of things which you never say, which you are incapable of saying when you're not listening. So this guy, this Maximus Pepperkamp, who, by the way, has a background in psychology, has worked many years in mental health, has studied behaviorism. He knows a thing or two. He talks about various things that are related to this particular issue of not listening, because he links it to human biology. Yeah, we all have an autonomic nervous system. And if we are in a fight, flight or freeze response, we're not listening. But if we feel at ease, if we feel safe, if we are in a non-threatening environment, then we begin to listen. And we create and we maintain such an environment by listening to ourselves while we speak. Yeah. So he is onto something, and he calls this a science. The science of one person who talks with himself and who listens to himself and who is able to recognize, like, wow, I was involved in not listening and I have stopped that, and now I am having embodied language. I'm listening to myself. That is languageology, the science of spoken verbal behavior. So this guy, Maximus, he is quite unique in that nobody else talks about this. Nobody believes that this is even an issue. Nobody believes that it is an issue that we are all involuntarily engaging day in, day out in disembodied language in which we do not listen to ourselves while we speak. It's astonishing. And nobody cares, hardly anybody responds to what he is writing and what he is saying. But in spite of that, he is so utterly convinced, utterly at ease, utterly satisfied even, because let's face it, he doesn't care whether you do it or not. He continues with his own embodied language, and you cannot deny that his embodied language, there's nobody that talks like that. So you get a whole different perspective when you adopt his view, which of course would have to do with the fact that you listen to yourself while you speak, that you do it, that you do the experiment, and that you recognize and verify, like, oh my goodness, it is true what he says. And then you realize too that there is no inner language, because that is one of the major pillars of his science, is that all language is overt. So once you begin to put yourself in the driving seat of your own language, then you voluntarily experience that, wow, this imaginary, involuntary language that goes on inside your head in the day, because in the day you have all these thoughts, you believe to have all these conversations with yourself, but they're not there. That's all just false. That's all just imaginary. And so if you begin to actually talk with yourself and listen to yourself, you realize, like, wow, so my mind or my inner language was never true. And once you have said that, you cannot miss the point that also all your dreams, of course, are just more reactivity, due to the fact that in the daytime you never listen to yourself. So when you begin to listen to yourself, your dreams, they're just meaningless, in the same way as your mind is meaningless. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. And if there's any validity to your dream or to your mind, which there isn't, the only remarkable thing about your mind and your dreams is that because of your embodied language, they are not there. The moment you have embodied language, your dream doesn't matter. Your mind doesn't matter. It is not there, because your language is overt. You speak and you hear yourself. So this guy Maximus, he has discovered something, and I believe it's worth checking out.